I just don't think you're impressive enough, honestly.
Good evening. You might know me as her boyfriend, but there's something else.
Tuesday nights were supposed to be our thing, my sacred ritual with Rachel. No matter how insane life got, we always had dinner together. It was the one tradition that felt like it could survive anything: arguments, stress, even the quiet distance that had started to grow between us. That morning, I decided to go all out. I was making the roast chicken her mom used to make, her absolute favorite. I got every detail perfect, down to the last herb. I ironed the cloth napkins, lit the fancy candles, and set the table like it was for royalty. I guess I still believed that effort meant something. She walked in at 7:30, a half hour late, laughing into her phone. She barely glanced at the table, the candles, or me. She just breezed past, disappearing into the bedroom without a hello, without a kiss. She was still talking, still laughing, but those words, that laugh, they weren't for me, and then I heard it. A single phrase that made my blood run cold. She said, "He's sweet." My whole body just seized up. Sweet. I know what that word means when a woman says it like that. It's the verbal pat on the head, the gentle letdown. The word you use to soften the blow of total disinterest. I just stood there, frozen, with the serving spoon hovering over the chicken. She came out 10 minutes later, sliding her phone into her back pocket with a smile that was just a little too bright, a little too practiced. Dinner started with the kind of small talk you make with a stranger. She complimented the food, of course, told me I'd perfected the recipe, and joked that I should just do all the cooking from now on because I was so much better at it. Then she launched into stories about her work, her friends, and the big birthday party she was planning with them. A birthday I had been planning something for, too. Something much bigger, a surprise trip to the coast. A stay at that little boutique hotel she'd bookmarked on her laptop months ago. And a ring. A diamond ring I'd bought, tucked away in my sock drawer with all the hopes and dreams I'd been saving just for her. Then she took a deep breath, and her eyes drifted away from mine. "I wanted to talk about something," she said. The entire atmosphere in the room shifted. It felt like the air pressure dropping right before a storm. She said her friends had been asking about us, about me, and she didn't know how to explain it. Then she just said it. They don't think you're impressive enough for me." The words landed like a physical blow. I just stared at her, trying to process how she could say something so unbelievably cruel. Sitting here, at a dinner I made for her, surrounded by candles I lit for her. She immediately tried to soften it, of course. She said they thought I was sweet, stable, kind, all the words that are code for boring, but not enough. Not ambitious enough. Not the kind of man who makes an impression when he walks into a room. My mind was reeling, but I managed to ask the only question that mattered. "And what do you think?" The silence that followed was only a second long, but it told me everything I needed to know. Then she gave a tiny, almost imperceptible nod. She agreed with them. She always had. She said she needed to explore what else is out there, to find someone more aligned with her future, someone higher. That was it. I told her to go. I said, "Go, higher, explore, find the impressive man your friends think you deserve." She was shocked. She called me dramatic, said she just wanted to have a conversation, not a breakup. But I saw it all so clearly in that moment. She'd already broken up with me in her head weeks, maybe months ago. She was just waiting for me to pull the trigger so she would have to be the bad guy. She grabbed her purse and her keys and walked to the door. She paused there for just a second, like she was expecting me to run after her, to beg her to stay. I didn't move. The click of the lock was the loudest sound I'd ever heard. As soon as the silence of the apartment settled around me, I walked into my home office. I picked up the phone. Canceled the coastal hotel. Canceled the dinner reservation. Canceled the surprise helicopter tour I had booked. But the birthday venue? The one she was so proud of planning with her friends, I kept it. I just made a few adjustments. Then I opened my sock drawer, took out the engagement ring box, and set it on top of a thick folder. A folder filled with financial statements, contracts, and business plans. A folder that documented the company I'd been building in secret for the last 2 years. The part of my life she never cared enough to ask about. The part she just assumed didn't exist. You see, 2 years ago, my best friend Kevin and I started a tech company in my garage. It was just a side project at first, something we poured our nights and weekends into, but it grew fast. 6 months ago, a Fortune 500 company licensed our software, and everything changed. The revenue went through the roof. Investors were calling constantly. Our valuation exploded. And I hid all of it from her, not because I was ashamed, but because I realized I couldn't trust her with the things that truly mattered to me anymore. I didn't want my success to be just another accessory for her to show off to her friends. The next couple of weeks were a blur. I went into administrative mode. I moved out of our apartment, closed the joint accounts, divided up our things. It was clean, efficient, and completely emotionless. She, on the other hand, was falling apart. She tried everything. Calling from blocked numbers, showing up at my office, sending frantic messages that I never opened. To me, the breakup was a transaction that was already complete. Then, 2 nights before her big birthday party, I got a call from her friend Jessica. She was sobbing. She told me the venue had just sent them the final seating chart and the invoice for the party. And my name was on everything. They realized every single part of that event, from the caterer to the DJ, had been booked and paid for by me, months before Rachel had so casually uninvited me from my own life. Jessica whispered, "She told us you weren't coming. She said she was hosting it all herself. We had no idea." "I am so sorry," I told her not to worry. And I told her to let the venue know that I would, in fact, be attending. And to tell her friends to pay very close attention. The night of the party, I showed up in a custom-tailored suit that cost more than my first car. It was the kind of suit that announced you before you even said a word. Rachel walked in at 7:30, wearing a stunning red dress, basking in the applause from her friends' applause she thought she had earned. She didn't see me at first, not until the main course was being served. When our eyes finally met across the room, the color drained from her face. It was like watching someone pull the plug on her confidence. After dinner, the lights dimmed for speeches. And that's when I walked up and took the microphone. The room went silent. I looked out at the crowd, found her face, and began. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Daniel. I was with Rachel for 4 years, until about 2 weeks ago. Now, I'm not here to ruin a birthday. I'm just here because I paid for this party. You could have heard a pin drop. Gasps rippled through the room. I held up the receipts, the invoices, the bank statements with timestamps proving I had planned this all for her, long before she decided I wasn't good enough. I wasn't trying to brag. I was just correcting the narrative. Then I delivered the final blow. The truth she never bothered to learn. "I'm the co-founder and CEO of a company called TechVault Solutions," I said calmly. "It's a data analytics firm that was just valued at $43 million. And we're just getting started." The silence was deafening. I could see her friends staring at her, their faces a mixture of shock and pity. I put the microphone down, gave a polite nod to the room, and walked out. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. I had finally made an impression. Thank you for listening to my story. If you've ever felt underestimated, know your worth and don't be afraid to bet on yourself. Make sure to like and subscribe for more stories. See you next time.